All right, let's dive into this project management thing. We're going deep with the definitive blueprint. Unmatched project management tactics for bringing your business idea to life. It's all about getting things done, not just dreaming.
You know, it really hits you right away. This blueprint, it's all about going beyond just like big dreams. You got to have a plan, right? A real roadmap.
Makes you think of threads, big launch, tons of hype.
hmm
But did they really have a long-term plan? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's where this blueprint comes in. It's all about being specific, measurable goals, not just I want a successful app, but like what is success? How many users? Engagement, revenue targets. Got to be clear from the start.
So we've got our goal. Now what?
Deadlines. This blueprint, it gets deep with deadlines. They're not just dates on a calendar. It's psychological, you know?
Okay, interesting.
Deadlines, they can really push you. Urgency, accountability, got to break those big tasks down into chunks.
Unmatched tactics, huh? I'd always struggled with deadlines.
Well, there are frameworks, this blueprint lays them out, like cascading deadlines. You break down a big milestone into smaller ones.
Makes sense.
Keeps you on track. And you get those little wins along the way.
Keeps you going. Speaking of keeping things moving, communication is huge, right? I've seen projects go sideways because of bad communication. This blueprint seems to get that.
It does, big time. It's not just about talking, It's making sure everyone is on the same page, understanding each other.
Okay, but how? Does it give you, tools or something?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
choosing the right way to communicate, quick update, maybe a chat, big
Right.
decision, video call, or even in person.
Right, because we always use email for everything.
Exactly. This blueprint also talks about, protocols. Who needs to be in the loop? When do we share updates? What if something goes wrong? Lay it all out up front.
Ground rules for talking. I like it.
Now for the fun part, risk.
Uh-oh. You mean when things go wrong?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
This blueprint, it doesn't sugarcoat it. Things will go wrong. Got a plan for it.
I wish I had a plan sometimes. So, how do we do that? Identify and manage risks, I mean.
Proactive risk assessment. Figure out the problems before they happen.
Okay, so not just hoping for the best.
Nope. Brainstorm with your team. Look at past projects, what went wrong. Even do some what-if scenarios.
Like a safety net.
Right. And you don't just list the risks. Think about how likely they are. And how bad would it be if it happened? Small delay. Not a big deal. Key supplier goes bankrupt. That's a problem.
So we prioritize, right?
Exactly. Focus on the big stuff.
Risk, deadlines, communication, all important.
Yeah.
But what about the people? Keeping the team motivated.
That's huge. This blueprint really digs into that, celebrating wins, big and small.
I like that. Projects can be a grind. Got to celebrate those wins.
It's got to be authentic, Does the blueprint, give examples? It does. Align the celebrations with your team. What do they value? Some teams like public recognition, others maybe something smaller. Make it part of your culture.
It's more than just checking boxes. It's a team effort. And that brings us to the finish line. Keeping the momentum going at the end.
Yeah, it's easy to lose steam when you're almost there.
So true.
That's where good communication comes in.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the goal, their role in getting there. Keeps you focused.
Like the final push in a race.
And don't forget those celebrations. Those little wins keep you going.
It's the small steps that get you there.
Exactly.
We've covered so much. Goals, deadlines, communication, risk.
And we've only just started. There's a lot more in this blueprint.
I'm already feeling more confident. Ready to tackle that next project.
Me too.
But first, coffee break. Maybe a nap.
Definitely a nap.
All right, I'm ready to get back into it. Where do we go from here with this blueprint?
Well, we've talked about goals and deadlines and all that, but this blueprint, it goes deeper. It's about the people, the team.
Human element, right?
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of project management stuff is all about the process.
Yeah, and this blueprint, it's different. It talks about understanding people, their motivations, how they work best.
So it's not just about checking things off a list.
No, it's about recognizing that people are doing the work.
Makes sense.
It even talks about team profiling, figuring out everyone's strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, that sounds useful, especially when you're putting a team together. How do you even do that?
Well, there are different ways, right? The blueprint suggests personality tests or one-on-one interviews. You can even just watch how people interact, see how they work together.
So you can figure out who works best where.
Exactly.
And this ties back to communication, right?
Yeah.
Knowing how people communicate, that's got to be huge for collaboration.
Oh, absolutely. The blueprint talks about different communication styles, too. Some people are direct, to the point. Others need more details. You got to know how to talk to everyone.
So they feel heard. like their ideas matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And that leads to, well, conflict. Sometimes
Because people disagree.
happens all the time,
It's inevitable.
especially with strong personalities.
But conflict, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can actually be good if you handle it right.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how do we do that? Handle conflict, I mean,
This blueprint, it's big on setting ground rules right from the start. How do we talk to each other? What happens when we disagree?
respectful dialogue, all that.
Right.
So everyone feels safe to speak their mind.
Yeah. And you have to look at conflict as an opportunity.
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
It's a chance to hear different ideas, to find a better solution.
So it's not about avoiding conflict, it's about using it
Exactly.
to get a better result.
The blueprint gives some tips too, like using I statements
Yeah.
and really listening to the other person, trying to find common ground.
It's a skill for sure. Managing conflict.
It is.
And then there's delegation.
Delegation.
That's a tough one for some people. Letting go of control.
Especially for project managers, they like to be in charge.
So you can't do everything yourself, right?
Nope, you got to delegate.
So how do we do it right? Delegate. I mean,
The blueprint breaks it down. Pick the right person for the job. Give them clear instructions. Set realistic expectations.
and be there to help if they need it.
Exactly.
Support them.
And remember, delegation is a conversation.
It's a two-way street.
The project manager needs to be clear. And the team member needs to feel comfortable asking questions.
So everyone is on the same page.
Exactly.
This is all really helpful. I can see how understanding the team dynamics, it makes a huge difference.
It does. And this blueprint has even more to say about building great teams.
Maybe we'll save that for next time.
Yeah, let's leave them wanting more.
Anything else you want to add about teamwork before we move on?
Just this. Building a great team, it's not just about skills. It's about finding people who are passionate, people who want to work together, people who share a common goal.
That's a great point. Skills are important, but passion and teamwork, that's what makes a project really succeed. Okay, we're back. Last part of our deep dive into this project management blueprint. We've talked about a lot. Setting goals, communication, risk, teamwork.
Woo! Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. But there's one thing that really stands out to me about this blueprint. It's all about adapting and always getting better.
So it's not just like a set of rules to follow.
Nope. Things change. You got to be flexible.
Makes sense, especially these days. Everything moves so fast.
Exactly. The blueprint even talks about agile project management.
Okay, I've heard that term.
It's all about making progress in small steps, getting feedback along the way, and being willing to change direction if you need to.
Okay, so how do you actually do that?
Well, there are frameworks. One popular one is Scrum.
Oh yeah, Scrum.
It's about breaking the project down into these short bursts. They're called sprints.
Okay.
Each sprint, you focus on a specific part of the project, and you get feedback all the time.
To make sure you're on track.
Right. And Scrum also has these daily meetings. Everyone checks in, talks about what they're doing, any problems.
So everyone knows what's going on.
Exactly.
Prevents those last-minute surprises.
Yeah. And then there's this idea of continuous improvement.
So always trying to get better.
Yep. You don't have to be perfect right away.
It's about learning as you go.
Exactly. The blueprint talks about retrospectives.
Like looking back at the project after it's done.
Right. Figure out what worked, what didn't, how to do it better next time.
It's all about growth.
It is.
Well, we've learned a lot today.
From the big picture stuff, like teamwork, to the nitty-gritty details, like deadlines and risks.
It's all connected.
It is.
So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
Project management. It's not just about following rules. It's a way of thinking. You got to be collaborative, adaptable, and always looking for ways to improve.
It's about taking what we've talked about and making it work for you.
Exactly.
And remember, everyone's learning, even the pros.
There's always something new to learn.
Well, I feel inspired, ready to tackle my next project.
Me too.
And if it all gets too much,
Take a break.
take a nap, even.
A nap is always a good idea.
That's great advice. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time, happy project managing.